What does Thanos refer to when he says turns the legs to jelly? Iron Man and Thanos meet for the first time in the MCU. They seem to know each other. Text is essential for understanding this movie. This movie was produced using I'm going to be using to explain several aspects of this movie. Quotes in Marvel's opening banner reveal it's no mere coincidence that I am Iron Man is Iron Man's most iconic quote. That's because Iron Man is the one that the names of the main characteristics in the movie are significant as Doctor Strange turning a black hole into butterflies demonstrates that this movie is abundant in typology, similar to that found while Iron Man is a type of Doctor Strange is a type of Thanos is a type of we will explore meeting parallels between Thanos and Thanos' worship is aptly named Sanctuary 2 as the rain of fiery coals and burning sulfur is seen throughout the movie and it is reminiscent of Thanos is depicted as wiping out half of the planet's population, a concept derived. Therefore, the Infinity Stones support the concept. Hi, it has been several years since the movie Avengers Infinity War was released, and you might be pondering about some of the aspects of the movie, such as what does Thanos refer to when he says turns the legs to jelly? Or why is it that when Iron Man and Thanos meet for the first time in the MCU, they seem to know each other? Context is essential for understanding this movie. This movie was produced using a Gnostic lens. According to dictionary.com, Gnosticism is defined as an ancient group of heresies stressing escape from this world by the acquisition of esoteric knowledge. So, I'm going to be using the Bible to explain several aspects of this movie. I know, this might sound silly, but let's see if you still feel this way at the end of this video. And be sure not to skip any aspects of this video as each element builds upon the previous one. Let us begin with the analysis of the opening banner. The quotes in Marvel's opening banner reveal the plot of the movie. In the movie The Avengers, Nick Fury states the idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if they could become something more, to see if they could work together to fight the battles that they never could. On Marvel's website, Avengers are described as the Earth's mightiest heroes who stand as the planet's first line of defense against the most powerful threats in the universe. Thor reinforces this idea in this movie as well. Iron Man is famous for his quote, I am Iron Man. I'll explain why this is significant a little later in this video. Hulk reveals his secret to Captain America that he is always angry. Natasha confesses to Loki that she has committed sin and wants it erased. Groot says, we are Groot, when he sacrifices himself and later gets reborn. Peter Quill iterates that he, along with his team, are the Guardians of the Galaxy. Steve Rogers asserts that he can fight all day. To summarize these quotes, the Earth's mightiest defenders, fueled by anger and guilt, are willing to sacrifice themselves to foster unity among nations and seek assistance from extraterrestrial beings, ready to fight as long as it takes to confront a common threat. In other words, the movie Avengers Infinity War is Marvel Comics' interpretation of the Book of Revelation seen through a Gnostic lens. I'd like to clarify that this analysis is based solely on the MCU movies, not the comics. While the comics may offer alternative perspectives on some of the points I make in this video, that doesn't diminish the validity of my claims. Both can coexist as truths. For example, Notice how the red marble theme transitions to black and the letters IO transform into 10. This could be interpreted as Marvel celebrating its 10th anniversary, but it might also suggest a deeper meaning. Iron Man and Doctor Strange duo parallel. Let's analyze Iron Man, arguably the most renowned Avenger. We can see his prominence among the Avengers. Based on this, can Iron Man be described as a powerful organizer, a persuasive orator? I think so. In Iron Man 2, during the Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, Iron Man demonstrates a belief that he is above the law. He boldly claims to have privatized world peace. Based on this, can Iron Man be described as rising to power on politics and peacemaking, a forceful military leader, a political manipulator, lawless one? Again, yes, I think so. In the Avengers, when Captain America asks Iron Man what he is without his suit of armor, Iron Man confidently replies, genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. So, again, can Iron Man be considered an intellectual genius, a financial genius, man of sin? Absolutely. It's no mere coincidence that I am Iron Man is Iron Man's most iconic quote. That's because Iron Man is the one who comes in his own name. While I just described the most prominent characteristics of Iron Man, I also described a figure known as the Antichrist in the Bible. How's that even possible? That's because Iron Man is a type or a prototype of the Antichrist. Introducing the concept of typology. A prophecy is an oral prediction of a future event, while typology serves as a non-verbal prediction. A type or prototype foreshadows a future event or person. Another key characteristic of the Antichrist in the Bible is that he is described as the seed of the serpent or Satan. This seems to apply to Iron Man as well. To understand how this is applicable, we must first understand that the names of the main characteristics in the movie are significant as they reflect their respective distinct personalities. Iron Man's father's name is Howard Stark. Howard means High Defender or Chief Guardian, and Stark means strong or powerful. This is one of the descriptions of Satan before he rebelled against God. 20 means highly praiseworthy, and the Antichrist is described in a similar way in the Bible, as mentioned a little while ago. In this scene, Tony Stark mentions Howard Stark as making a guest appearance from the great beyond. He says, please welcome my father Howard. And Howard talks about the possibility of world peace. So, as the name suggests, Howard Stark is a type of Satan or the devil. So, just as the Antichrist is the seed of the serpent or Satan, Tony Stark is the son of Howard Stark. These are types. Finally, to top it all, the Antichrist or pseudo Christ is said to come in the place of Jesus Christ. Iron Man sacrifices himself like Jesus in Avengers Endgame to complete the type. By the way, did you notice Iron Man imitating the crucifixion pose in this movie banner? If you would like to see my analysis of Avengers Endgame, please do let me know in the comments and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Next, let's explore Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is referred to as the supreme sorcerer of the mystic arts. He impresses people by means of performing miracles. Here, Doctor Strange does the infamous 666 symbol with both his hands when he reveals that he has the time stone. So, his number is 666. The name Doctor Strange is quite straightforward and easy to understand. Here, Doctor Strange uses the infamous devil's horns symbol to discuss the possibility of defeating Thanos. We have a similar incident of predicting the future mentioned in the book of Acts. Again, while I just described the most prominent characteristics of Doctor Strange, I also described a figure known as the false prophet in the Bible. So, Doctor Strange is a type of the false prophet mentioned in the Bible. Additionally, Doctor Strange's mansion is referred to as the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is the Latin translation of the Holy of Holies, a place where God appeared in the Bible. Doesn't this raise an intriguing question? How can Doctor Strange, who is a type of the false prophet, have his dwelling place named after God's sacred space? Well, that's because Satan is described as an imitator. In this scene, Doctor Strange creates an illusion of butterflies from a black hole that is thrown at him by Thanos. Doctor Strange, turning a black hole into butterflies, demonstrates that he is a master of illusions, acting as a deceptionist and embodying the traits of the false prophet. He transforms something as real and frightening as a black hole into a serene scene filled with butterflies. Do take note that this is just an illusion. Hence, Iron Man and Doctor Strange parallel the Antichrist and the false prophet duo in the Bible. We will see more about Iron Man and Doctor Strange after I explain about Thanos. This movie is abundant in typology, similar to that found in the Bible. While Iron Man is a type of the Antichrist, Doctor Strange is a type of the false prophet, Thanos is a type of Jesus according to Gnosticism, or a mischaracterized and misrepresented Jesus. As mentioned earlier, the MCU movies are developed through a Gnostic perspective. A key characteristic of Gnosticism is the inversion of good and evil, portraying good as evil and evil as good. While Iron Man and Doctor Strange are depicted as heroes in Avengers Infinity War, they are villains in the Bible. Similarly, Thanos is portrayed as a Gnostic Jesus, or a mischaracterized and misrepresented Jesus, reinforcing this moral inversion. A truth statement is always absolute truth, whereas a false statement is deemed false even if just a small part of it is untrue. This is the same in Thanos' case. While some of his characteristics resemble those of Jesus, others are distorted and some are outright lies. We will explore 18 parallels between Thanos and the Gnostic interpretation of Jesus. Light and I am theme parallel. In the opening scene, Thanos stands against a bright backdrop bathed in light. He is presented as light. Jesus is also referred to as light in the Bible. Thanos declares, I am inevitable. The pause between I am and inevitable is by design, as Jesus refers to himself as I am and also speaks of his inevitable return. Coming back theme parallel. Thanos is coming, he's coming. This echoes the anticipation surrounding Jesus' second coming, emphasizing the urgency and inevitability of his return. Both figures invoke a sense of impending arrival, heightening the stakes in their respective narratives. Challenging God parallel. When Loki says, You will never be a god, Thanos laughs. This has a biblical base. Crucifixion parallel. Thanos says, I know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless. It's frightening. Turns the legs to jelly. I ask you, to what end? Dread it? Run from it? Destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here. Or should I say, I am. This is the first instance where a wrong is depicted as a right. When Thanos says turns the legs to jelly, he's referring to a psalm that describes Jesus' crucifixion and misrepresenting it, attempting to frame it as a failure. However, the crucifixion of Jesus was one of the greatest achievements in history. He died for our sins, offering redemption for you and me. Dwelling place parallel. Thanos' worship is aptly named Sanctuary 2, as God's dwelling place in the Bible is referred to as the sanctuary. The name parallel. What about the name Thanos? It is derived from Greek meaning immortal. In Gnosticism, Jesus is viewed as a created being and hence considered immortal rather than eternal. Just as Iron Man and Doctor Strange have names that reflect their identities, Thanos is named in a comparable manner. In the comics, Thanos is the son of an Eternal named Alars, further supporting this Gnostic interpretation. However, in reality, Jesus is not a created being, he is eternal. The most supreme being theme parallel. In this movie, Thanos is depicted as the most supreme being, with Hulk even referring to him as the strongest creature in the universe. This is emphasized by the presence of the only throne chair on his warship. Additionally, Thanos is seen in command of two throne guardians while he has Nebula in his possession, further highlighting his authority. This parallels with the Bible, where Jesus is affirmed as the only God, and the Bible provides vivid descriptions of God's throne room, complete with throne guardians. Judgment theme and rain of fiery coals and burning sulfur parallel. One of the most striking scenes is when Thanos hurls a moon at Iron Man, resulting in a rain of fiery coals and burning sulfur. The rain of fiery coals and burning sulfur is seen throughout the movie, and it is reminiscent of the judgment described in the book of Revelation. This parallels with the Bible, where Jesus rains fiery coals and burning sulfur as judgment. Body pierced parallel. Thor pierces Thanos while looking him in the eye, a moment that echoes a significant biblical event where Jesus is also pierced. This alludes to Jesus' first coming, during which he was crucified. However, it's important to note that in his second coming, Jesus will not be pierced, signifying a different role and purpose. Bruising the head theme parallel. In the opening scene, Thanos bruises Thor's head as he repeats this with Iron Man on the planet Titan. This imagery resonates with a biblical theme where it is prophesied that Jesus will bruise the head of Satan, symbolizing the ultimate victory over evil. Weapon parallel. In Avengers Infinity War, Thanos does not wield a sword, but in Avengers Endgame, he is seen using a two edged sword. This parallels the biblical description of Jesus, who is also depicted as wielding a two edged sword. Be sure to subscribe to my channel to catch my analysis of Avengers Endgame. Killing half of the planet's population theme parallel. Thanos is depicted as wiping out half of the planet's population, a concept derived from two biblical verses taken out of context. These verses indicate that initially one fourth of humanity is killed, followed by another one third of the remaining population due to various causes, including famine. To simplify, let's assume Earth's population is 1 billion. If one fourth is killed, that leaves 750 million. Then, if another one third is killed from those remaining, we end up with 500 million. Therefore, the population is reduced from 1 billion to 500 million, which is indeed half of the original population. One of the reasons for death mentioned is hunger. Thanos justifies his decision to eliminate half of the planet's population that Gamora was part of by claiming that many went to bed hungry, scrounging for scraps. He argues that the planet was on the brink of collapse and that his actions prevented disaster. Thanos insists that the children born afterward have known only full bellies and clear skies, suggesting that the planet was transformed into a paradise. He views the loss of half of the population as a small price to pay for salvation, asserting that the planet needs this drastic correction. What Thanos is claiming aligns with the idea that God permits evil to bring about a greater good, a concept known as the Felix Culpa theodicity. This perspective suggests that through suffering or wrongdoing, a more significant positive outcome can ultimately emerge. This is not a biblical concept. Presence of life on multiple planets is also a Gnostic view. Doctor Strange accuses Thanos of genocide, and Thanos acknowledges this, implying a recognition of indiscriminate killing. However, it's crucial to note that in the biblical context, the killings are not random, they are based on choices that individuals make. The Bible indicates a deliberate selection process rather than arbitrary destruction. Concept of dualism and the Infinity Stones. Before exploring other parallels, I want to highlight the concept of dualism in relation to the Infinity Stones. Dualism holds that good and evil are two distinct forces, equally powerful, governing the universe. In this movie, those who possess a particular Infinity Stone can harness its specific power, regardless of the moral alignment. This suggests that if evil forces wield all the Infinity Stones, they could triumph over good. Therefore, the Infinity Stones support the concept of dualism. This idea contrasts sharply with biblical teachings, which make a clear distinction between good and evil. According to the Bible, the Creator, who is good, can never be defeated by evil, which is ultimately manifested through a created being. For example, Hulk's assertion that Thanos is the most powerful creature in the universe because he possesses the power and the space stones represent a dualistic argument and is therefore not accurate. Killing Gamora parallel. Returning to the parallels between Thanos and Gnostic Jesus, Thanos kills Gamora to obtain the Soul Stone, which can be seen as an exchange for souls. In the movie, Gamora is portrayed as innocent, and Thanos appears saddened by her death. This resonates with the biblical account of God destroying the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah due to their sinfulness. While Gomorrah is not depicted as innocent in the Bible, God still grieves over its destruction, expressing a desire for no one to perish and taking no pleasure in the death of the wicked. This reflects one of the many lessons in the Bible aimed at helping Christians save their souls. Snapping fingers parallel. Thanos snapping his fingers has a biblical parallel as well. I'd like to share a few verses so you can analyze the depth of this parallel. But now I snap my fingers and call a halt to your dishonest gain and bloodshed. How strong and courageous will you be then in my day of reckoning? For I, the Lord, have spoken, and I will do all that I have said. I will scatter you throughout the world and burn out the wickedness within you. Disintegration and the Christian rapture theme parallel. The noticeable differences are that only human beings will be raptured. The dead first will rise, followed by the living. Other beings, such as Groot, and certainly not the supreme sorcerer of the mystic arts, Doctor Strange, will be part of the rapture. Similar to the crucifixion of Christ, the rapture is depicted as a tragedy. However, it is in fact the opposite. There is nothing random about the rapture. It occurs based on the decisions individuals make. Familiarity between Thanos and Iron Man when they meet for the first time parallel. Thanos and Iron Man appear to meet for the first time in the MCU. Yet, Thanos claims to know Iron Man. Shortly after, Iron Man responds, "My only curse is you." This is because Iron Man is the son of Howard Stock, who is a type of the devil, as previously mentioned. Jesus created the chief guardian, who later rebelled and became Satan. Just as Jesus, Satan, and the Antichrist know each other, Thanos knows Iron Man. Indeed, the Antichrist's curse is Jesus. The destroyed planet imagery theme parallel. Doctor Strange surveys the aftermath of the destroyed planet Titan and asks Thanos if this is his home. Thanos then reflects on how wonderful the planet once was, drawing a parallel to the biblical account of the world before sin entered it, as described in Genesis 3. This event, known as the fall, involves Eve being deceived by the serpent into eating the forbidden fruit, which granted knowledge of good and evil. Before the fall, the world was a beautiful place known as the Garden of Eden. This irony is striking, as it was Satan who instigated the fall. Doctor Strange then asserts that Thanos is a prophet, implying that Marvel Comics acknowledges biblical references while also attempting to mock them, particularly since we know that Thanos will ultimately be defeated in Avengers Endgame. While Jesus is God, he can also be seen as a prophet, highlighting the complex interplay between these characters and their narratives. Assertion of reality parallel. Thanos to Gamora. Reality can be whatever I want. This line reflects a common misunderstanding of God's sovereignty. Many believe it means God can do anything without limitations. While theoretically God has the power to do as he wishes, practically he operates within certain parameters. Why is that? Amongst others, he grants a kind of freedom necessary for love, which in turn limits his own freedom. The Bible even suggests that God has unfulfilled desires. Additionally, there are specific rules of engagement relating to cosmic conflict, as illustrated in the book of Job. Truth, absolute or relative. As an addendum to the assertion of reality, the mention of the reality stone's location as nowhere clearly underscores the concept of value relativism, the idea that there is no absolute truth, only relative truths. Gnosticism frequently leads to this relativistic viewpoint, which stands in stark contrast to biblical teachings. This perspective poses a significant threat to morality as a whole. Ultimately, truth is absolute. Additionally, Doctor Strange's claim that he is protecting reality in this movie suggests that the Bible, Jesus, and the Gospel are viewed as mere illusions rather than concrete truths. This aligns with Gnostic themes where good is often depicted as evil and evil is portrayed as good. Earth dwellers. The next type we observe is the Earth dwellers, a diverse assembly of people from several nations who join forces with the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers to confront Thanos. Their confidence is symbolized by young Groot, who is seen playing a handheld game called Arcade Defender. This imagery parallels the book of Revelation, where enemies unite in their efforts to fight against Jesus. Christians are not earth dwellers. Ebony Maw as a type of a twisted angel. The last type that we'll discuss in this video is Ebony Maw. While Thanos serves as a misrepresented and mischaracterized type of Jesus Christ, Ebony Maw represents a similarly distorted portrayal of an angel. Ebony Maw to the Asgardians. Hear me and rejoice. You have had the privilege of being saved by the great Titan. You may think this is suffering. No, it is salvation. The universal scales tip towards balance because of your sacrifice. Smile, for even in death you have become children of Thanos. This is MCU's interpretation of one of the most popular verses in the Bible, John 3:16. God loved the people of this world so much that he gave his only Son, so that everyone who has faith in him will have eternal life and never really die. This praise literature is frequently used by angels and is prominently featured in the book of Psalms. Salvation represents Jesus' plan to redeem humanity from sin. However, in this context, it is being mischaracterized. My humble personage bows before your grandeur. No other being has ever had the might, nay, the nobility, to wield not one but two infinity stones. The universe lies within your grasp. This echoes numerous verses in the Bible that highlight God's might and nobility. Hear me and rejoice. You are about to die at the hand of the children of God. Be thankful that your meaningless lives are now contributed to the balance. The Bible teaches that all human beings are created in the image of God, which affirms their inherent dignity and worth. Choose a side or die. One side is a revelation, the other is a honor known only to a few. Now go in peace and meet your Maker. All of these portrayals misrepresent biblical verses depicting God and angels as heartless and cruel. In reality, the truth is quite different. In summary, Avengers Infinity War is MCU's version of the Book of Revelation. Iron Man is a type of the Antichrist, Doctor Strange is a type of the false prophet, Thanos is a type of a misrepresented and mischaracterized Jesus, or Jesus according to Gnosticism. We have the type of the earth dwellers. Ebony Maw is a type of a misrepresented and mischaracterized angel. We hear the hopeful message that Thanos is coming. He is coming. This resonates with the declaration, Jesus is coming. He is coming soon. Doctor Strange arrives on Earth and enlists Iron Man to confront Thanos, echoing the expectation of the false prophet seeking the Antichrist's help to oppose Jesus. The movie title signals that the Infinity War has begun, reminiscent of how Jesus' second coming initiates the Armageddon War, described in the Book of Revelation. After Thanos acquires the final time stone, Doctor Strange declares, "We are in the endgame," highlighting that time is running out for Satan. This imagery parallels the biblical narrative of the end of the world. One aspect that I find puzzling is one of the physical descriptions of the Antichrist, which states that his right eye shall be utterly darkened. The Iron Man does not fit this description. However, Thor is depicted wearing an eye patch over his right eye, while Nick Fury wears one over his left eye. Isn't that empty? Now, wasn't that a tidal wave of a revelation? I hope you liked my analysis of Avengers Infinity War. Coming up next is my analysis of Avengers Endgame. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss it. Do you think you might know someone who might enjoy watching this video? Be sure to share this with them. Even though this video is not that short, I've actually skipped several aspects of the movie, such as why does Iron Man wear an inverted triangle on his chest? What does it signify? What are the roles of the Scarlet Witch and Vision? beyond the obvious. There were references made to the band The Beatles, the Olympics, and Starbucks. Do you think there's any significance behind this? Also, did you notice the beam of light that shoots up when Thanos offers Gamora in exchange for a soul stone? And what about the place where Thanos goes to once he is pierced by Thor, and where he also meets Gamora? What about the giant elf who forges the Stormbreaker? Or why was Greenwich chosen as one of the shooting locations? If you would like to see a video explaining these aspects and more, be sure to let me know in the comments. Or perhaps you're more interested in another Marvel Comics or a DC Comics movie. If this is the case, do let me know which one it is in the comments. One of the notorious scenes in Avengers Infinity War involves the question, which master do you serve? Marvel Comics presents this in a light-hearted manner, almost trivializing the choice to accept Jesus as our master. When you're faced with this question, I hope that you boldly proclaim that Jesus is the master that you serve. I'd like to leave you with one question. Do we, as Christians, have the level of confidence in our beliefs as much as Marvel Comics has in their Gnostic teachings?